24 hours, 7 days a week. You can find your favorite program, Law and You, only on Pinnacle TV. Hello, welcome to today's exciting edition of Law and You. I love this program for one reason. It enables us to talk about your rights, my rights, the rights of your neighbor, your wife, your children, your family, your brother or your sister. So this platform is one where we can discuss this topic, and then we can get a little bit more enlightened. We can ask questions. We can, profile our opinions. So thank you to all of you who have been tuned to our YouTube channel, or linking up with us on Facebook or other social media platforms. Please keep your comments coming in. My name, as you know, is Dele Igbinedion. Welcome. Now today I want us to look at whether it is right for security agents to use violence on citizens. Is it right for security agents to use violence? Beat somebody up, break his head, hit him with the butt of the gun, give him a judo kick, or give him a karate chop, all in the name of arresting that person. Okay? So I want us to spend a little time to look at this, because we know that this is very rampant in our society. You see, sometimes you're driving past, you see security agencies, particularly soldiers, they beat people up, make them to frog jump and all of that. So we want to look at the law just to enlighten all of us, because sometimes some of these security agencies who do this, don't even know whether it is right or whether it is wrong. It's just a culture they have grown in. That's how they met it. And so they just assume that it is right until they are called into question. Okay, so is it right for security agents to use violence on citizens?
Brutality is one of the several forms of misconduct used by most security agents. Widespread brutality exists in the country today. It is the wanton use of force, usually physical, that is likely to cause bodily injuries. It can also occur in form of verbal attacks and psychological intimidation by a security agent. Speaking to some respondents, they have this to say as concerning the use of violence by security agents on citizens.
You don't just beat citizens, you take them to the law court. But here, reverse is the case. You see them beating people, harassing people, which is not lawful. It's not good. They should not take law into their hand.
When these people commit this offense, instead of being violent, maybe around, you started like this camera to capture them. Then easily you can get them arrested. You understand? But using violence cannot solve the problem. Rather, it's creating more problem.
They will get hold of them, collect their phone from them, start screwing the phone, checking. The next thing they push them inside their car and zoom off, which is not good.
Depend on the attitude of the citizen, of the person, to the security person, that will determine how the security personnel will react on them.
To using violence initially is not fair, but depend on the respondents. If you commit crime, when police approach you, you respect yourself.
If a policeman is really doing their job, I don't think they will go to that extent beating that person. You can trick person, you can talk to person, then you get fat from the person.
Favor Osaro reporting.
I would like to know your comments as the program proceeds. You can use any of the platforms to contact us and let us know what you think. Your opinion matters. Now, what is the law regarding this? Firstly, every Nigerian or any citizen of Nigeria or any person within the borders of Nigeria is entitled to the respect for the dignity of his person. It's a fundamental right. Now, that is provided for, that's my constitution. It's a little bit dog-eared from, using it. I try to read it as much as I can, so I hope you read yours too. Section 34 of the 1999 Constitution of the Federal Republic of Nigeria, as amended, is the one that is useful now. Okay, that is the ground norm. That is the overriding law, the law of all laws, the originator of all laws, the sustainer of all laws, the decider of the validity of all laws in Nigeria today is the Constitution of the Federal Republic of Nigeria. Okay, so section 34 provides, and I read subsection 1, every individual is entitled to respect for the dignity of his person. Every individual deserves to be respected, and accordingly subsection A says no person shall be subjected to torture or to inhuman or degrading treatment. No person shall be subjected to torture or to inhuman or degrading treatment. B, no person shall be held in slavery or servitude. No person shall be held in slavery or servitude. I will explain it. And C, no person shall be required to perform forced or compulsory labor. Wow. See, beautiful provisions. This is the law. If you contravene this law, you will be in trouble if you are taken up. It doesn't matter who you are, you have to comply with the law. Number 1, it says every person is entitled to respect for the dignity of his person. And accordingly, no person shall be subjected to torture. You cannot torture somebody. You cannot say, oh, he's committed a criminal offense, let us torture him. Oh, I saw him committing an offense, I should torture him. And let's punish him. It's not in your place to punish anyone. It's the job of the court after they find the person guilty. And there are prescribed punishments. Beating somebody up is not one of those punishments prescribed in the law. It's not. No court can sentence someone in this day and age to 5 slaps or 17 headbutts. Give him 17 headbutts. No. Or whip him with a horse whip, or what popularly called the koboko, or your belt. No. That is inhuman. You know? So you cannot subject somebody to torture or to inhuman or degrading treatment. What is inhuman is as defined by law, not as defined by your whims and caprices. No person shall be held in slavery or servitude. You cannot lock somebody up and use the person to work and not pay the person. That's slavery. Or servitude. That's servitude. Perpetual servanthood without any reward. And the reward is as prescribed by law. The law prescribes certain minimum standards to treat employees. You got to pay people who work for you. You cannot just get somebody working without pay. That will be servitude. It's against the Constitution. If you are caught, you will be in trouble. Okay? Alright. And the third one is nobody shall be required to perform forced or compulsory labor. You can't force people to work, to do labor. You can't do that. That is against the law. Okay, so that's a wider ambit. But we're looking in this program at, violence. Okay, what can the police or security agencies do when they arrest people? Are they allowed to, beat them, and all that? All right, let's just look at, a few provisions of the law. First of all, I like this one. This one is the Administration of Criminal Justice Act 2015, which is a federal statute in Nigeria, a federal law in Nigeria. I don't look at section 4 of it, section 4 and 5. Interesting. You better listen if you are in the process or in the business of arresting people. In section 4, in making an arrest, the police officer or other person making the arrest shall actually touch or confine the body of the suspect, unless there is a submission to the custody by word or action. Okay, so he says you should touch or confine the body of the suspect. He doesn't say you should beat the person up. Don't beat somebody. He says touch or confine. In other words, keep him, enclosed, arrest him, hold him. Okay, so you can actually touch somebody. It allows you to touch, but it doesn't say beat the person. Okay, so you have your handcuffs. You can touch and handcuff the person to take him from point A to point B. But section 5 says a suspect or defendant may not be handcuffed, bound, or subjected to restraint except A, there is reasonable apprehension of violence or an attempt to escape. In other words, if you are arresting somebody and you believe that the person could become violent or may try to escape, he says you can handcuff the person, or you can bind the person, or subject the person to restraint. Otherwise, don't do that. If the person is not, if you say, please, can you come with me? The person says, okay, I'm ready to come with you. Then there's no need to handcuff the person. Unless you think, the person could become violent, then you can, handcuff the person either in front or at the back. Or B, or you consider that the restraint is necessary for the safety of the suspect or the defendant. Or C, by order of a court. See? Nowhere here does it say you can beat the person. Of course, there's also the general law that if you are arresting somebody and there's, you have reasonable apprehension or there's a result of violence, you have the right to use violence. Reasonable force is called to subdue the violence. But you cannot beat somebody who is not being violent. You cannot be the initiator of the violence as an arresting officer. You can't start to beat somebody up. No. What the law says is use word of mouth to say you are under arrest. It says in making an arrest, you can actually touch or confine the body of the person. So use word of mouth to say, you are under arrest for this offense. And then if the person accompanies you voluntarily, you don't need to start to beat the person up. You don't need to start to, hit the person. So that provision is there. It's also the same provision in the Administration of Criminal Justice Law in Edo State, section 7. Okay, a suspect shall be accorded humane treatment, having regard to his right to the dignity of his person, and it shall not be subjected to any form of torture, cruel, inhuman, or degrading treatment. So that's also the provision here, and then it's also the provision in the Administration of Criminal Justice Law of Lagos State. So from what I've read to you from the Constitution and from this law, you can see that it's actually not right, for the police or any security agent, even army, to start to subject people to violence. What should be your response if you are a defendant or a suspect or an accused person, and violence is meted out to you? How should you respond to it? We'll come back and we'll talk about the same one. 24 hours, 7 days a week. You can find your favorite program, Law and You, only on Pinnacle TV.